NFL draft nerds, New York Jets fans, welcome in. We are trying to provide some sort of relief, some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. This New York Jets, as Aaron Rodgers said, is it a curse? I don't know what it is. Woody Johnson meddling in the affairs too much of the actual football team. Again, I don't know. But we're trying to provide some sort of hope for the future here with a mock draft, right? New York Jets 7-round mock draft. Got a lot of draft capital. There's some cap maneuverability in some certain situations. I mean, we don't know who the general manager is going to be. We don't know who the coach is going to be. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. There are so many question marks here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this mock draft. We're just going to try to put together the best group of talent that we can that makes sense to fit around what pieces we know will be in New York next year. That's what we're going to do. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content here, please like and subscribe. Let's get this thing started. So the Jets are sitting at 8 overall right now. Again, plenty of draft capital to try to get this thing kick-started. Do we want to just kick the can down the road, take a 1 and a 3 and a 6? No, we do not want to do that. We do not. I mean, this is not a bad deal here necessarily, moving down 4 spots for a 3 and a 6. I don't hate that. But I think we're going to stick and pick. Because we still have a blue chip prospect, in my opinion, on the board right now. Actually, multiple. But we're not taking Ashton Genty when we have a talented backfield. Not taking Malachi Starks because we have Mason Graham available. Adding Mason Graham to the defensive line with Quinnen Williams represents the opportunity to create just such a dominant unit that opposing offenses are just cratering in the middle of their line consistently. And when you're able to do something like that, I don't think you can pass on that opportunity. Great run defender, great pass rusher. Pairing him with Quinnen Williams, they're not redundant skill sets at all. He's 320 pounds. Again, like if you're asking him to take on double teams, he can do it. If you're asking both of them to pin their ears back and just go create disruption in the backfield, our linebackers are going to clean up behind you. They can do it. Mason Graham can also play 5 tech for you. He has the flexibility, the athleticism to do that. I would love pairing these guys up together. I'd absolutely love it. The Jets defense needs to get back to playing more like the Jets that we have seen over the last several years. And I think Mason Graham would be a potential game changer on the interior along with Quinnen. Them playing next to each other again could just create such dominance there that opposing offenses really struggle to deal with it. So yes, there's other good prospects on the board, but Mason Graham is my highest rated prospect by a wide margin for the New York Jets at 8 overall. So our next pick is at 41. We have a good amount of draft capital, but not enough to where I'm sitting here and saying I really would like to move on from some of this capital to be able to move up in the draft, at least not at this spot. I think it's going to be too rich, too much draft capital to potentially do that. And now the Saints are saying, hey, the Jets are about to take somebody that we really value here at 41. I think that is the type of trade that you'd be insane not to accept in all likelihood. But is there a reason? Who's on the board here? It's Tyler Booker. Do I think there's any way Tyler Booker falls to 41? I mean, maybe. Maybe. Guard is obviously a devalued position, but that would be unbelievable. And we cannot pass that up. And again, you can sit here and say there's no way Graham's going to be there at 8. There's no way Booker's going to be at 29 or 41. There's always surprises every year. There's always surprises. And so, yeah, we're going to refortify the interior. The Jets have spent a good amount of investment on the interior of the offensive line. Elijah Vera Tucker is injured often. But yeah, I would absolutely say taking a Tyler Booker, who for me is a top 20 prospect because not an elite athlete, but elite leader, elite at the point of attack in the run game, elite pass protector with a tremendous anchor and a young prospect who I think is just going to be one of those dudes. You're building out the interiors of your lines of scrimmage and refortifying there is never a bad idea. Getting two guys as good as Mason Graham and Tyler Booker to help you do it, I think would be a coup for the Jets at this point. I'm really high on that possibility for them. And, it's saying quarterback is a big need. Is it? I don't know. I really have no clue at this point because I don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be there? Is he not? I don't know. Devontae Adams is an interesting situation at receiver because obviously up there in age, could potentially move on, get some draft capital back for him, or not draft capital, but cap space and maybe draft capital. You could potentially trade him as well. But let's say that Devontae is still on the team. You have Garrett Wilson. You're not really looking at needing to add like a top receiver. You could certainly add a depth slot move type of guy at some point. I don't think that that's the biggest value here, although I love Tez Johnson, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Royals, a lot of talent there. I would like to look at corner potentially here, as DJ Reed is an impending free agent, and it looks like a lot of the good guys have come off the board. Maybe that's a spot we should have looked at 41. However, I just think Tyler Booker was too good to pass on, and fortifying the interior too important. So maybe opposite sauce, we're looking at adding somebody here soon who can compete potentially to start in year one with a veteran or two. I wouldn't mind that. Zy Alexander, somebody, I like his game a lot. I just think he really lacks long speed. Other than that, I'm a big fan. Dalen Everett up and down. I don't know that Will Lee's going to declare. Kobe Bryant is definitely a playmaker. I think looking at safety could make sense as well. Talking about improving that secondary overall. But again, we're not going to reach for need here. Like, we are going to try to get the best possible prospects we can. Danny Dennis Sutton, don't know if he's going to enter the draft, an underclassman, former big-time recruit for Penn State. Kamara has been very productive for Indiana. A lot of the big guys have come off the board here. Q Robinson, somebody we could keep an eye on later, it looks like. I don't think he'll be around at 198 like it's suggesting here, but some interesting options. Alfred Collins, my goodness, should not be on the board there. Yeah. Maybe we do just say, hey, receiver is the best value at this point, because it is. I mean, Tez Johnson or Jaden Higgins are insane values. Kevin Winston is a value too, coming off a partially torn ACL. He's a super talent. Could fall down the board due to injury. That's really what I'm deciding. And obviously Alfred Collins, but we have two big-time defensive tackles. We're not adding another one at this spot. Yeah, this is tough. If we want to get back to playing Jets defense, Jets football, let's get Kevin Winston. Kevin Winston Jr. Great safety prospect from Penn State who super reliable in coverage, explosive athlete, good size, great tackler. So, I mean, you're just getting kind of a complete package at safety there. Could we take a swing on a quarterback of the future? You could. I personally am not very high on Jackson Dart. I think Riley Leonard is more of a backup. I think Dylan Gabriel is more of a backup. Cade, if Cade enters the draft, I would be in on that actually at this spot. I absolutely would be. And they're playing in the college football playoff, I believe, right? Yeah, they won the ACC. I'm just going to make sure that we don't have any information on Cade's draft status right now. Because they're playing, in the college football playoff. I assume he probably just hasn't decided yet. Just making sure here because he's got tools. He's absolutely got tools. Yeah, he could be in the draft. He could be in the draft, and we're going to take him here because he's a really good athlete with really good pop on his arm. He's played a lot better this year. If he enters the draft, he should be looked at as a day two type of guy. And if he goes back to school, he could potentially be a first round pick. And like legitimate first round pick, not just drafted there because of need, but like that type of talent. So who knows? That might be a pick that doesn't make sense if he ends up going back to school, but that's what we're going to do since he's available now. And this time of draft season, it's just kind of difficult to know what's going to happen with some of these prospects, right? That's how it goes sometimes. And, you know, Cade would make sense if he's on the board, if he's available, whether Rodgers is there or not. Kobe Bryant, I think this is a good time for him to come up. I mean, he should probably be off the board already out of Kansas. Not going to be an elite athlete or size guy, but quality in that regard, and then he's got great instincts in playmaking. Looking at our best values here on the board at 161, where are we at? What do we got at wide receiver? Anybody that could come in and be a slot? I think Jack Besh could be a power slot for you. Where is Daniel? Yeah, Daniel Jackson. So far down the board, it's crazy. I think he has the ability to be a good third target as a wide receiver in the passing game. You know, Jake Majors, I think, is a decent interior center prospect. Logan Jones is going back to school, I believe. It's definitely not a bad time value wise here for a receiver. Ty Hamilton is an absolute beast in the middle. Just evaluating our options here, right? And look, late round picks are even more of a dart throw than the early rounds. We could add a running back. There's great value at that spot here. No question about that. Kyle Monunga, goodness gracious. Yeah. I just can't pass on him at this spot. He's too good. He's a guy that not going to have like explosive long speed, but he is explosive in short areas. Very low to the ground, good contact balance, really patient and with good vision to get through the hole, find the right hole, and then quickness and agility and contact balance to make the first guy miss at the second level. I think he's going to be one of these guys that could potentially be a league leader in like 10 plus yards runs, 10 plus yard runs, but not really getting a lot more than 10 to 15, 20 yards because he doesn't have that elite long speed. RJ Harvey's incredible too. I just think Monunga, with his pass blocking ability, with that ability to pick up some tough yardage, all that good stuff, could really complement what you have in that backfield right now. Elijah Arroyo, interesting tight end prospect. Do we have any sneaky prospects down here at the bottom of the board? I mean, I think Jason Marshall is a prospect that is being very undervalued out of Florida right now with his experience, pedigree, versatility on the back end. I think he could be a much more impressive pro than he was at Florida just due to circumstance. You talk about needing an edge. Rucker could make sense here. if he's available. Yeah. We can go in that direction. You can also sign depth edge players. It's not like they don't have good edge players in New York right now with Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson. Obviously, Hassan Reddick probably not going to be around much longer, but looking at this group, it'd be a lot of fun at the top being able to really just fortify the trenches. That's what good football teams are able to do, is dominate in the trenches. And I think you'd be able to really say you can feel good about doing that long term with Mason Graham and Tyler Booker on each side of the line. Kevin Winston coming there as a super value pick coming off the partially torn ACL. But that was way early, several months ago. So he should be healthy for the offseason program, maybe for some pre-draft workout stuff. Cade, again, if he's entering the draft, I think would be a tremendous value there. Kobe Bryant, a competitive corner. Jason Marshall as well. Kyle Monangai complimenting Hall, Breece Hall there, and then K'Mon Rucker coming in to compete at edge behind your top two guys. I think it's a lot of fun. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.